Well, hello everyone. I'm Cathleen Trigg-Jones and welcome to the iWoman Report. I wish I could tell you what day it is, but to tell you the truth, I'm really struggling. This coronavirus has completely thrown off everything we've learned about maintaining a healthy work-life balance. I mean, I'm relying on, of all things, my iWatch to tell me what day and time it is, but I've been staring at my computer screen so much lately that I can barely see this little teeny tiny screen, and, well, I can't go to the eye doctor because we're social distancing, right? So if there's anything that you can do to help me, because I'm really struggling here, please DM me. Tell me what's been working for you to stay balanced and organized. All right, my big question of the day. Should Donald Trump reopen the country? And if so, when? Make sure you answer our poll on Instagram and Twitter, and I'm going to give you my opinion later on in the show. But right now, let's jump right into the top stories that we've been following today. Donald Trump is facing what he calls the biggest decision of his life. Should you be thinking about saving or investing during this time? Financial expert Ashley Fox is here to tell you there's virtually a virtual cafe for everything you could think of these days. Our lifestyle guru Liz Samuel tells us her top cafes. And could it be J-Lo and P. Diddy back together again? I'm going to tell you what the exes are up to in a minute. But first, you're watching the iWoman Report. All right, so let's start off with coronavirus. The world is watching as Donald Trump ponders making the biggest decision of his life, when to reopen the country.
I'm going to have to make a decision, and I only hope to God that it's the right decision. But I would say without question, it's the biggest decision I've ever had to make.
This comes as tension appears to be brewing between Trump and top medical officials, leading to a retweet by the president over the weekend of the hashtag #FireFauci. It has to do with a New York Times article which reported that the Trump administration was warned back in January that there could be a pandemic and swift action was needed to avoid a catastrophe. However, it took the administration 6 weeks reportedly to act. Well, Chief Immunologist Dr. Fauci told CNN's Jake Tapper over the weekend deaths could have been prevented if the president had listened.
If we had, right from the very beginning, shut everything down, it may have been a little bit different. But there was a lot of pushback about shutting things down back then.
As you can imagine, that interview right there set off a firestorm within the Trump administration. But according to a CNN report, if you look back to when the United States and South Korea both first announced their first coronavirus cases, which was near the end of January, the United States now has 50 times more cases and almost 100 times more fatalities than South Korea, which took immediate action and shut down the country. And the United States leads the world in cases and deaths. The main reason the president is anxious to open the country is obviously the economy, which is nosediving at record speed. But some good news. According to the IRS, some of you received stimulus checks in your bank accounts over the weekend as part of the $2.2 trillion stimulus bill that passed. Now, the checks range from $1,200 if you're single, making under $75,000, to $2,400 if you're married, making less than $150,000. Now, if you received yours, please let me know, because I honestly have not heard from one single person, not a business, not an individual, that has received a penny since the money was promised, since this pandemic started. So I'd love to hear from you. If I'm wrong, let me know, but I've heard from no one that's received any funding yet. Which brings us to this. What should you be doing with the money that you do have during this crisis? Earlier, I spoke with financial expert Ashley Fox, founder of Empify, who suggests investing, even if you only have a little to invest. Ashley, you say that this is not necessarily a time to get down, but maybe get excited about the opportunities.
Yes, I think it is the best time for us to look at how we can grow through this crisis, how we can financially build through this crisis, and not to mention the stock market has been crashing. So thinking about ways that we can start investing, because a lot of the companies that we once thought were expensive or overvalued, prices have declined 20, 30, 40%. So look at that as an opportunity.
What do you tell someone who really has never invested and really doesn't know exactly what they should be doing?
Well, I definitely recommend getting educated. Don't invest off of what you think is good or what everyone is talking about, but also dig into what you need to do to become a better person financially, because everybody's not a stock guru. I myself don't even feel like I'm a stock guru. I'm learning every single day. So I would definitely suggest, one, taking classes. We actually have a class for beginners where we help them go from start to finish to start learning how to invest in the stock market. So take classes, get educated. But if you're coming from a place where you're not fully abreast of how to invest, you have to start to treat this situation like you're learning a new language, right? So if you're learning a new language, you have to surround yourself around people who are talking about building wealth. You have to start listening to the news. And even though it may seem complicated, it's more of having the will and saying, I deserve to be wealthy. You know, it's not hard. You don't need a lot of money. Those are just misconceptions that we choose to believe. And now it's about changing the narrative. Hey, I deserve to build wealth. I can build wealth. And I'm going to start today.
All right. What are some ideas? People who are watching this, and they are novice, because a lot of times, unfortunately, women and minorities are not always the first in line to consider investments. But how would you get started? You mentioned taking a class, but what are some ideas that people could do right now to get started and to pick the right companies to invest in?
So you can look at it a couple ways. The first thing I would definitely say is pick up a notepad and a pen and write down where you're spending your money. So over the past 30 to 60 days, what companies have made money as a result of you, as a result of your time and the amount of money you've spent, right? So there are certain companies that are always getting your money. So for example, right now during this pandemic, while there are restaurants that are closed, there are also grocery stores that are open, right? There are also your Targets, your Walmarts that are still thriving during a time where a lot of industries are actually collapsing. I just saw an article about movie theaters, right? They're pretty much probably going to be non-existent when this is over. So thinking about, hey, I'm not going to the movie theater, but at the same time, thinking about where am I spending my time, energy, and money? Because there are winners right now. And realizing if you make a list of when you wake up, what are you doing? You're taking a shower. What soap are you using? What are you drinking? What are you eating? What kind of phone do you have? What kind of television are you watching? What do you do for entertainment? A lot of these companies are large, multi-million and billion-dollar businesses that we can start taking advantage of.
I really want to get women involved in this. I want to get women involved in investing, learning how to invest. I think what you do breaks it down in such a simple way. How can people find you in order to even start taking these classes and educating themselves?
Definitely. So my company is called Empify, which is the word empower and modify merged together. So you can go to empify.com, EMPIFY.com. And we have tons of classes, guides, resources, a checklist. I just made a guide with ideas of stocks that you should consider during a recession. But you can also find me on social media. I am at _Ashley M. Fox, and that is on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, everything.
Wonderful. Wow. Together we can.
Yes, absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for joining us. I'm signing up. I'm going to take it because I want to educate myself so that I can help educate our viewers. And thank you so much for being here during this time. I really appreciate you and the work.
Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
You can see more tips from Ashley on our iWoman YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe. Well, it's great to see all this sheltering in place, bringing out the best in people virtually. Over the weekend, P. Diddy, the party animal, threw a virtual dance party to raise money for medical responders. Justin Bieber, Snoop Dogg, Cathleen, no, I wasn't there, but J-Lo was. She joined in the fun, showing off her salsa moves with P. Diddy. And no, before you go starting any rumors, the exes are not getting back together. J-Lo's man, A-Rod, was right there behind her every move.
Listen a little, come on. What you waiting for? Let the freak show begin. How they came in and strung out, puff,
All right, so our lifestyle correspondent Liz Samuel told us some other ways that many creatives are finding to connect through so-called virtual cafes.
Hey, Liz.
Hey, Kathleen, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. So I know you've been holding it down in your New Jersey home, and you know, you, like many other artists, had to try to find really creative ways to stay busy during this time. What are some of these artist spaces that you've been telling me about?
Yeah, so there are artist salons, right? So the salon, we think of like hair salon, but artist salons are community gatherings to work on pieces that aren't finished yet that you would like to just perform to get some feedback from other artists. It's a really great way to collaborate. And during this time when we can't get together in a cool space or someone's home, we're doing it online. So there's one on Zoom, there's many on Zoom, but the one I've been to one on Zoom, I've done one on Facebook. We've done Facebook Messenger with a group chat, and it's a great way to just keep writing, keep creating, get the feedback, still make something happen during this time. And if you're looking for a salon and you have some writing you'd like to collaborate. You can create one with a group of your artist friends, or you can find one. You can just Google artist salons in the area that you live in. I'm sure you'll find one. They're sort of popping up all over the country, all over the world, really. So, yeah.
I think we need to create an iWoman salon because I can use some help writing the iWoman news report.
That is a great idea. I love it. iWoman salon. Love it.
So if somebody, you know, a novice, if you wanted to find a salon and maybe you're a writer or maybe you've been writing a play, you've been working on a book, how would you find those people because this is new to a lot of people?
Yeah, so the way I found the one that I was invited to was that someone reached out to me and said, hey, do you have any more episodes you're writing for the show you're working on? Would you like to work on them in our salon? And I hadn't really thought of that before, but I would say if you haven't heard of any and you haven't been invited to one yet, you can either create one, gather your friends who are artists and writers, and just get together online right now, not in anyone's home right now, but get together online, do it through Zoom or do it through Facebook Messenger. I think you can have like up to 8 or 10 people on Facebook Messenger, and put your work out there and let someone set a timer. You can set a timer for 5 minutes after they've shared their work so that so they get 5 minutes of critique so they can go back and work on it and then meet again in a week. So it's a great way to keep going.
Oh, that's incredible. Well, I can't wait to get started. I'm going to put the iWoman one out there and see what happens.
Love it. Yeah. Great idea.
Liz. Well, thank you so much, and have a great day.
Thanks, you too.
And finally, I asked you at the top of the show whether you think the president should open the country back up, and if so, when. Please be sure to fill out our poll on Instagram if you haven't already. But here's what I think. I absolutely do not think the president should be so quick to reopen businesses or schools or anything right now. We're at war. And this is a tough call for someone like me because I am a business owner, and so is my husband and many friends. And we're really suffering right now. Our businesses have been shut down. So I really feel for business owners, big and small, some of whom may never fully recover from this crisis. But when you think about it, we as a country really haven't been shut down completely for very long. In fact, some states still aren't fully enforcing shelter in place. Had we back in January all stayed home, it might be a different conversation. But right now, there are still so many people dying. We've essentially sent our doctors and emergency responders to battle on the front lines of a deadly war without being properly armed with information or medical gear. Who does that? The World Health Organization is warning countries not to ease their shelter-in-place orders, mainly because they're still not certain if those who do test positive are immune to a second infection, and they fear a second deadlier wave of infections could be possible. So I say we should listen to them. They're the experts. So until we have proper testing in place and a system to let us know who is clear and who still needs to be protected, I say absolutely we should not rush to reopen anything. That's just my 2 cents. I can't wait to hear your thoughts. Again, please fill out our poll on iWomanTV, the Instagram if you haven't already. And that's going to do it for us. Thank you again for joining us. Until the next time, everyone, please stay healthy, stay happy, and stay safe.